All right, Mark Immelman was at Amen Corner. Kyle Porter, he was there and apparently made quite an impression. So did Justin Rose. Mark, let's start with you. Why was he so much better than everybody else? This course kind of got the better of every golfer except one guy. What happened?
Well, the golf course, when the folks arrived here early in the week, EK, we just saw that it was going to be a tough challenge. It was firm and fast Saturday already for the Augusta National Women's Amateur, and it just continued to go that way. There's been very low humidity. There's been some light breezes, and that's the perfect recipe for a golf course firming up. And then, of course, you've got this place today, which was very dry, again, low humidity, and some of the hole locations were just very difficult to access. Now, we saw this coming. I thought today something in the sort of 4-5 under par ilk would be good. I just didn't see what Justin Rose did. And this is a guy who's coming in here with limited form, honestly, and limited play. The last time he did play, it was a withdrawal from Bay Hill. So who knew? He caught up with his coach, Sean Foley. Things are getting better. But apparently he's got everything right in working order. Struck the irons beautifully, all the right distance, which was hard given how firm these greens were. And then he putted just miraculously and made some awesome putts the entire day. So firm golf course, great conditions for a major championship course, and Rose looking like a major championship guy.
Yeah, there was a lot going on today at Augusta National. I think what's really interesting is something that Mark touched on. Justin Rose only has 3 top 10s in his last 19 starts worldwide. That's since golf kind of came back amid this COVID-19 pandemic. He hasn't been very good, but he does have a really good history at Augusta National. And like you said, EK, he's won a U.S. Open before. You know what this looked like on Thursday? It looked like a U.S. Open. The way that it was playing, 74.5 was the scoring average. I mean, to gain what Rose gained, 9.5 strokes on a field, if you're around double digits against the rest of maybe the best field that we've ever seen at the Masters, that's unbelievable. Now, the problem for him is there's a ton of golf left, and there's a lot of big numbers to be made. We saw triples. We saw Hovland triple the first. We saw Spieth triple the 9th. There are a ton of numbers out there, and he's going to have to hold off the rest of this field going over the next 3 days.
Justin Rose played his final 11 holes at 9 under par. And Kyle, you mentioned Jordan Spieth, your guy, coming off the win last week at Texas, snapped an 0 for 82 drought. You mentioned his triple bogey on 9. Then he bounces back with an eagle on 15. He's right in the mix there. Tied for 8th. He's 6 shots off the pace at 1 under par. Could have went to 2 under there on 18. Missed that short putt for birdie, but settled for par. How would you describe his opening round?
Well, I thought the last 9 holes were pretty gutsy, you know, to bounce back from that triple bogey. That's half the fun with Spieth, though, right? He'll make a triple, then he'll chip in for eagle on a ball that probably should have rolled into the water on 15. Here's the thing that I'm looking at with Spieth. If you look at the last 16 Masters winners, so you go back to 2005, every eventual winner that's not named Tiger Woods was in the top 10 after day 1. Jordan Spieth's in that top 10 after day 1. So he's kind of in that range where you're looking at guys that have a real chance to kind of run down Justin Rose. So I think he's in an okay spot. You know, it looks not great because he's 6 back of Rose, but I think he'll be happy with kind of the way he bounced back from the triple on the 9th hole after day 1.
Well, to build on Kyle's point, which I think is very appropriate, you know, the score aside, Rose is essentially playing a different golf course. But between Spieth and Rose, if you're thinking for Spieth to eventually win this thing, he doesn't have very many guys between he and Justin Rose. And sometimes it's more than just the strokes. It's the folks to have to overtake. And what we saw out of Jordan Spieth today was really resilient. I was impressed by the way he bounced back, not just on the back the second 9, but right after that triple bogey on 9, he birdies 10, which is no mean feat right away. And as I watched this and as I watched him through our coverage in Amen Corner, the iron play was really sharp. The putter was useful. I thought the driver was behaving itself, which has sort of been the bugaboo, if anything, for Spieth of late. But more than anything else, I saw a guy who could do the battle of attrition, which is what today was and what I expect the rest of the week to be. And I think this was sort of etched and certainly formed in the victory at Chambers Bay many moons ago in that U.S. Open. So it looks like Jordan is there with the short game and with the ball striking where he can play that game of survival. And so I think that stands him in real good stead as we venture deeper into this event.
The headline being Rose, and we talk about guys like Jordan Spieth who may be able to chase him down. But once we get by Rose and the fact that not everybody scored well, who else as a golfer is somebody that you look at that leaderboard and go, maybe somebody who left some shots out there, maybe somebody who finished strong, maybe somebody who had a terrible day that you didn't see coming. What's your other headline here today, Kyle?
I think for me, it's probably Dustin Johnson. You know, I thought he, I talked about gutsy earlier with Spieth. I thought his round through, 17 and a half holes was pretty gutsy. And then he just kind of gave it away at the very end with the double bogey. But he's not really out of it. You know, he's 2 over. That was a little bit better, actually, than the field average. So, can he string together maybe a couple of 70s, throw a 68 in there? All of a sudden, maybe he's kind of in it at the end. I thought him as the defending champion really kind of hanging in until the end and then giving it away a little bit was one of the kind of bigger stories on day one here.
EK, I have a couple. First off, I just want to give a nod to Justin Thomas, who's coming in here playing really well, and he did sort of what Jordan Spieth did. He was 3 over early and just hung in there and battled out a decent round to sort of keep himself in the mix, because you certainly don't win this event on Thursday, but you can lose it, and we saw that out of Cantlay and company, who you list. But to me, it's Hideki Matsuyama. You talk of a player who's not bringing much form into this event, and Justin Rose hasn't. Well, Matsuyama has not been that great whatsoever of late, and he's had sort of limited starts. He did shoot one event in the 60s last week in San Antonio, an event he doesn't ordinarily play. So that tells me here's a guy who's looking for some competitive reps, trying to find a little something. And man, did he find it today. Not just with the ball striking, which is normally his wheelhouse, but he putted beautifully on some very difficult greens. So I'm looking to see if Hideki, who's been good around here in the past, if he can continue to build on what was a really sound day.
Everyone chasing Justin Rose at 7 under par and also making some noise in round 1 at Augusta. Our own Kyle Porter, apparently he has become a meme on Twitter. Kyle, walk me through this photo here. You are just locked in, my guy.
Yeah, it's not good. I can't see the photo you're looking at. I can imagine what it is in my head. Look, I'm trying to get out there, get among the people, see some golf. I'm trying to get as close as I possibly can. It's, my job when I'm out here. Don't sit in the press center. Go see the golf. So I was right there. I was about 3 feet away from getting hit by Lee Westwood on the 3rd hole there, and yeah, man, I'm fired up. I get out to Augusta and I'm locked into the golf, so I'm ready to go for the next 3 days.
Look at the arms on Kyle Porter.
He's got his arms
preacher
crossed.
curls.
He looks
that's
absolutely
how you
yoked.
to show off the guns.
Yeah, you look yoked in that picture.
Tickets to Augusta. You also need 2 tickets to the gun show with Kyle Porter right there.
Yeah, but two things, guys.
The off time. The off time at night, Bryson and I are doing, we're kind of alternating biceps and tricep workouts. So that explains
I got to hear Mark jump in here on this.
Yeah, but guys, when you fold the arms over, you can force those biceps out just a little bit. I saw Kyle there, and I'm looking at Kyle going, this is intense. And I saw the picture. We were in the broadcast, and the first thing that popped to my mind was like, here's Kyle. He's on the course. He can't have a phone on him, so he's trying his best to figure out what the strokes gained implications on this picture were, because he's like, this is deep in thought. Now I'm watching golf. How is he gaining or losing strokes from the pine straw was the question.
You know what he's thinking right there? He's thinking, is that ball embedded? Should Patrick Reed pick it up, even though that's Lee Westwood? That might what he was thinking back at the Farmers Insurance Open. He's like, man, if somebody takes a photo of me right now, my biceps are gonna be just yoked, and this is gonna be the greatest meme ever. I love it. You're all over the place. That picture is great. It's great. It's like Bernie Sanders.
Day one storyline.
That's my storyline. That's great. Kyle, Mark, good stuff as always here on CBS Sports HQ, breaking down round 1 of the Masters. And hey, for round by round reaction, check out the First Cut podcast hosted by Rick Gaiman. You got Kyle Porter. You got Mark Immelman. You got Greg Ducharme. You got Jonathan Coachman. I mean, you got a cast of characters there. A cavalcade of stars. The First Cut podcast. Download and subscribe today.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.